4th and goal to go to 2. 34 seconds left to go in the ball game. This is the play right now. Takes the snap. Targeted goes in. Targeted all alone. And the quarterback keeps. Wow, what a call. Nobody touched him.
Here is Jeff, the host of the Gridiron.
Let's go for this one here. So, as I said, the Eagles, they have a nice little laundry list here as far as injuries, guys. The Giants have 2 out. One of them is doubtful, so you could probably kind of, unless Mr. Diag, whatever, the guy from, what was it, the Karate Kid, whatever, comes on and goes like this, and he rubs his hands together, and he puts his hands on it. I think it's a Debo's knee. He gets it to being okay. Mr. Miyagi. If you ever see Karate Kid, the first one, he goes, because the Karate Kid, something, I think it was his knee, or something. And they brought him back, and he was laying down, and he was like all beat up and stuff like that. Mr. Miyagi comes in and claps his hands. It goes like this. Well, gets some friction, gets some heat going on his hands, and I don't think you see what he does, but by the time he's done, the Karate Kid jumps up. Oh my God, this is unbelievable. So the Giants have some, do have some issues. Of course, that they're in the secondary, right? So let me show you here. Who do we have here? Okay, let me share the screen here. All right, here we go. All right, now of course, but this is going to be very helpful because Mr. Brown. Downtown A.J. Brown is going to be out. That's going to be huge. That's really going to help the Giants. So they won't have 2 stud wide receivers running around. So if we can, I'm not saying it's going to be easy because Dallas Goedert is going to be playing, obviously. And we always have a hard time. I have no idea why. Since Jesus Christ walked the earth, we can't cover tight ends. Don't know why. So, trying to, contain Devontae Smith, right, be huge, and let's hope somebody can cover Dallas Goedert, right? He had a very good game the other, 2 weeks ago against the Giants. So, but if we notice right here, this is right. So we got the Eagles here. This is like an Eagle thing here. I see. This is from BleedingGreenNation.com, right? So the Eagles ruled 6 players out: A.J. Brown, Brandon Graham, Cam Jurgens, Adoree Jackson, Bennett, and check this out: Azeez Ojulari is injured. Wow, imagine that. So they thought they were getting themselves, which they were, a very good football player. But they're like, oh, man, we got this guy. Yeah, well, he's not very good when he's injured 95% of the time. It is absolutely freaking amazing. Jimmy Johnson, he said one thing. He's like, injured players get injured. They just some guys, you wind them up, put them on the field. 15 years later, they walk off the field for the final time and never even get an ingrown toenail. Nothing. They don't get jock itch. They don't cough. They don't catch a cold. Nothing. Other guys, they walk onto the field, bam, they're popping their Achilles. They pull a hamstring. They can't do anything. How they make it through high school and college, and then all of a sudden they come into the pros, and all of a sudden, as Ojulari did have issues, so which was something, if he ever could stay healthy, it was a heck of a steal for the Giants where they drafted him at. But as we say, and as the Eagles are saying, Azeez Ojulari just can't stay healthy. It's a shame. Really good player, but just can't stay healthy. All right. Brown's absence, which certainly isn't ideal, means the Eagles currently have 4 healthy wide receivers on the roster. So they got Smith, Jahan Dotson, Mechie, and Gibson. So, this guy right here, Mr. Smith, right? That's the guy we're going to watch out for. Jalen Hurts will likely look to feed Devontae Smith in this game, but someone else needs to step up and do more than nothing. We'll see if Dotson can handle that much. Note that the Eagles could also look to activate undrafted rookie standout Darius Cooper from the injured reserve. So we'll have to wait and see. The absence of both Graham and Ojulari means the Eagles have 3 healthy edge rushers on the roster: Hunt, Uche, and Patrick Johnson. So, I mean, their edge rushers are, nothing really super ideal. Okay. It's a thin group. The Eagles also do have rookie Antoine Powell-Ryland on the practice squad. It would have been nice to have Graham available this week, but he previously indicated the Green Bay Packers game in Week 10 was the more likely target for him. So he's coming back. He's been retired, so I'm not even worried. I mean, I don't know what kind of difference he's going to wind up making. Right? But, those are the edge rushers. So the way Thomas has been playing and the way Illuminor has been playing, Dart should be able to stand in the pocket without being, worrying hopefully too much about the edge rushers. Okay. What he's going to have to worry about is a push up the middle, no blitzing up the middle. Right. But hopefully our tackles should be able to take care of the edge. Right. Jurgens' absence means that Brett Toth will likely start at center. Good luck to you, brother. You got Sexy Dexy there. Good luck. He's taking first-time reps at the pivot in practice this week with Landon Dickerson operating at left guard. Toth going up against Dexter Lawrence isn't really a comforting proposition for Jeff Stoutland, and is trusting the veteran to get the job done. So, this would be a huge game if Sexy could finally break out. I mean, he's been double teamed a lot and all that, but if we can start hearing his name, right? He makes some tackles, gets a lot of pressure in the backfield, maybe get a sack or 2 or something, that would be huge for him. Adoree Jackson's absence means that Kelly Ringo, who has really struggled, right, will start at cornerback number 2. The Eagles won't be able to go with Jakorian Bennett, who was also ruled out despite his practice window being opened earlier this week. The Eagles ruled one player questionable, which is Darius Cooper. Cooper was a full participant in practice on Thursday and Friday, so the Eagles have until 4 o'clock on Saturday, October 25th, to activate him from the injury reserve to make him available to play on Sunday. Guessing they'll do that to have more wide receiver depth. So, let's see. We got some guys who are listed, right? But they don't, but they're on the list. But I mean, Dallas Goedert, Landon Dickerson, Jeremiah Trotter, Grant Calcaterra, they're all listed without game time statuses. This means that they're ready to play despite appearing on the injury report this week. Right. So you got the Eagles injury report. I mean, last year when they won it all, that this had to have 6 guys out. Might have been like eight weeks combined. You think maybe one guy this week was out, maybe 2 weeks later another guy. I mean, they were very, very healthy last year. This was not in the cards last year. Actually, have 6 guys out for the Eagles. So, questionable Darius Cooper with a shoulder and reserve retired. So edge Za'Darius Smith. Smith unexpectedly retired from football. That's weird. Like halfway through the season, you know what? I'm out of here, guys. So that's a bit odd, but it is what it is. Then they got a bunch of guys on the injury reserve, right? But these 2 guys, Bennett and Cooper, their practice window was open, so these guys might make it to the game. So we'll have to wait and see. All right, so the Giants have rolled 2 players out, Paulson Adebo, all right, and Marcus Golston. I mean, it's like somebody like Flanagan Fowles and Marcus Golston. It's like, when the are these guys going to play? It's like, oh my, what the did they do? Jesus God! It's like every week it's like Marcus Golston. What did he do? Did somebody take a chainsaw and cut the dude's leg off or something? I mean, what the? Jesus God! So they got. They're right about this one. Deontay Banks has been a sieve. Will have to play a corner. So the Giants ruled 1 player doubtful, which is Javon Holland. So that means we're probably going to wind up having Belton, right, and Newman as our starting safeties, right? Belton, no, that's been too bad. Once again, say this same thing with Flat, right? He's a contract year for Mr. Belton. He's going to want to play good, right? And he's been doing okay. I'm not saying he's Ronnie Lott or Troy Polamalu or something like that, but have him as like a backup or something, safety. Let's hope we sign him too. Giants ruled 3 players questionable. Brian Burns, who's playing. He said he's playing. Graham Gano and DJ Davidson. DJ's, unfortunately, he's been on the injury report quite a few times this season so far. Burns said he's going to play despite missing 2 practices and being limited on Friday. Well, I mean, it misses practices and being limited at all. That's just to help him recoup. The guy says he's going to play. The guy's going to play. I mean, I got no doubt about that. Gano could be activated from the injury reserve in order to kick for the Giants. Otherwise, the Giants could opt to temporarily elevate Younghoe Koo from the practice squad. But as far as I know, Gano should be good to go. So the Giants get a Debo and Golston, okay? And it's like Jonesy Golston, I mean, he's been out like almost the whole season, so this not like a big loss because we're not losing anybody because he hasn't hardly played at all. Him and Flanagan Fowles, but apparently Flanagan Fowles might actually be he might even actually be playing this week. I'm sure he'll probably get injured during the game, but then of course they said they got Javon Holland, who's doubtful. So unfortunately, Debo and Holland both have a knee. Right, they're good chance that neither one of them is going to play. Now, the one thing is, okay, is that you can look at it is that if their knees obviously can be extremely bad, right? But if they thought it was that bad, they'd be on IR. Okay, so the fact that they're hanging around and they haven't put them on IR and all like that, gives you hope that hopefully they'll be able to recuperate somewhere in the near future, right? But when at the point in time they ever actually get back on the field, it would be nice just to hear their name. Oh man, what a play by Holland! Oh, did you see that interception by Debo? Oh, you took the ball away. Big game-changing play by Debo. That'd be nice to hear that. You shell out $100 million for a couple guys. It'd be nice to hear their name like once or so during the season. I mean, am I asking for too much here? All right, so then we got obviously Burns, who's playing. It's regard. It was it was weird because at the end of the game last week he was kind of like limping at all, and they said after the game was over with he was in like a walking boot, something with an ankle. And now this whole week, the boot's off, and they're not even mentioning an ankle or a foot or an ankle, and now it's a hip. So I don't know why you got a walking boot on if there was something wrong with your hip, but Burns had every week last year. Burns had something wrong with him, and he played. And the dude's just a freaking all-out warrior. See that's the thing. That's the difference, right? You bring a guy in, you pay. Once again, I'm not saying Holland's got to be a Hall of Fame, safety. I'm not saying that Debo's got to be a Hall of Fame cornerback when he's, but can we make a play? I mean, we're halfway through the season. It's like those guys even play. You don't wonder about that with Burns, right? You bring the guy in, right? You trade away a draft pick for him. You pay the dude a lot of money, but the guy plays every week, injured or not. Is tied for a league lead in sacks with 9. Right, so, and we got Graham Gano now. Of course, the big thing here with Graham Gano, right, is that let's hope, right, that what's been happening, right, with Gano doesn't happen again. Like he gets into the game or just in the warm ups, he pulls a hamstring or a groin or something, and he can't. Let's hope, right? Because, I mean, if we had a kicker last week, okay. Now, Gano every now and then would miss an extra point every now and then, right? But the thing about him, you pay the dude $5-6 million a season. The moments ain't too big for that dude. That's why he's been around a long time, right? And the moment, as I said, he might miss an extra point, right? But if you look at it, you're kind of wondering, right? Because with McAtamney missing that first extra point, is that why then we wound up going for 2 a little bit later? Because it's like, well, McAtamney, he sucks. So let's try to go. So do we want to try to catch up trying to make up for those points that because the field goal sucks. Interesting if we had Gano last week and just say he missed the first one. I wouldn't have missed the second one, right? Would have been interesting to see instead of us going for 2, would we have kicked the extra point or not? But God, it just it's always something. Always something. So much easier said than done. Much easier said than done. The one nice thing is that like with Dart, Scadaboo, and the rookies and all that, they're not part of the Dexter Lawrence has never won in Philadelphia. Slayton's never won in Philadelphia. Andrew Thomas has never won in Philadelphia. These guys have been around a little while. They never won in Philadelphia. Dart and Scadaboo, they played in stadiums bigger, right? On the road. They played in, Dart's played at SEC. He's played on the road in stadiums bigger than Philadelphia. He's been booed by more people. He's had mom jokes thrown out at him, right? But bigger stadiums and all of that. So, they're not part of that. They don't. I don't know what you're talking about. Okay, they won, but that has nothing to do with right now, right? This is a very very good opportunity for the Giants, right? The Eagles are down to one good wide receiver. Okay, they don't have any edge rushers, right? Our tackles should be able to control anybody on the outside. They're getting Carter back. That's going to be a challenge for us up the middle. Okay, we got Slayton coming back, right? So with Slayton and Wandale Robinson, let's see, do we do a lot of 12 personnel with Bellinger and Theo Johnson on the field? Can we get the running game going? But the big thing is that if the Eagles are going to score, they're going to score, right? They were moving the ball up and down the field against us last time, right? They just had those 2 turnovers. But if the Eagles are going to score, let them go 60, 70 yards in 10, 12 plays. Right? Tip your cap. Nice drive, Eagles. Way to go. Don't let them, no home run balls, Devontae Smith, no 70-yard touchdown runs by Saquon Barkley, right? And don't turn them. It's so much easier said than done. I get it. But, turning the ball over. I said the last 5 games the Giants have been in, whoever won the turnover battle won the game, right? The Chiefs, the Saints, and the Broncos won the turnover battle against the Giants. They won the game. The Giants against the Chargers, and then the Giants against the Eagles won the turnover battle. They won those games. So the last 5 games were 2-3 in the turnover battle. It's going to be huge. I say one thing the Eagles, as I said, the Eagles don't do is beat themselves much. They 2 weeks ago, right? Jalen Hurts threw the interception, got the ball punched out. They were moving down for at least a field goal try or something, but the ball got punched out, right? But for the most part, the other games, they don't beat themselves. Okay. And as I said, if you look at those games against the Rams, they blocked a game-winning field goal, picked it up and ran it back for a touchdown. Last week, they beat the Vikings, who suck, by 6 points. Well, they picked the pass off and ran it back for a touchdown. So, once again, a lot easier said than done. I get it. But if the Eagles are going to score, let their offense score. Let them march down the field and score. Don't get no strip sack. They pick the ball up, run it in for a touchdown. Don't let them return a punt for a touchdown. Don't let them block a punt, run it back for a touchdown. Don't let them pick a pass off, run it back. I mean, let their offense score. Don't give them any points, right? As I said, every game is different. That's why they play the games, right? You don't know. The Giants have a very good, a very fair chance. Now, whether they could certainly lose 31-10, right? The way things have been going this year, but the Giants have a very fair chance of coming out with a W in this one. Right? A lot of it's going to be, a lot going to be like that momentum. Can the Giants, get that taste of victory in the third, fourth quarter? Can they hang around, right? A one-score game or be tied, or maybe just going late third into the fourth quarter, and then can they, flip the switch? Yeah, remember what happened last week? That's not going to happen this week. That's not happening this week. We're winning this week. So.